Okay, here are a couple of multiple PGA Tour winners here that have very different release patterns and have, kind of one of them hits a kind of a draw, one of them hits a cut pretty much exclusively. The player here plays pretty much exclusive cuts, and this player right here plays a pretty straight ball. I think he definitely hits more draws than he does cuts, but he can hit it both ways. One of the main things we see here, it's a pretty similar hand position. The hands are in between the elbow. This is last parallel here. And the hands are between the elbow and the shaft plane in both of these cases. You can see the player here on the right that's hitting cuts. The hips are more open and the torso is much more open here. The face is also just, a little bit more neutral on this one. So as we're coming through, this player has a much lower closure rate. But look at the top here. You'd think that this player right here, this face is so open coming in here. You'd think that this player would have a much higher closure rate. This player right here would have a much higher closure rate because that face tends to be a little bit more open here, right? But as he comes through and really kind of starts to unfold the left wrist, that lead wrist into, that's pretty much neutral there coming down. This one's coming in pretty much, and they get pretty similar spots here. But as we look through the impact or from the target view, we see that the player on the right, as we come through here, you kind of look at that face angle difference. It's pretty significant. Here's the face angle. You see this left wrist is in a lot more supination here. In fact, it's significantly more supination than this one. So he's really slowing that rotation down, even though they were in a very similar position, very different position at the top, very similar position at left arm parallel or last parallel. And now they're in a very different position at the follow through. So this player has more rotation and less closure rate. This player has less rotation and more closure rate. Both have won at a high level on the PGA Tour, and both can be done. So I think what's interesting is that when you're coaching players, especially using gears, you're trying to match up these patterns. Their hand paths are so similar. I mean, we're talking really similar, yet they hit very different ball shapes. So I think the key to that is the key to playing really good golf is that you're trying to match up whatever it is, you're trying to match it up so that your students can play at a very high level and they can do it consistently. So this is a good example of two very different ball shapes, very similar position here with the club the handle. So long live optical motion capture. This is pretty cool stuff. I learned a lot from these two.